Hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started. One story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
April 20th, Chicago, Stand National, Power Week. I'll be there and show you. Yeah, that's it, baby. Hey guys, my name is Wally Green from New York City. We have an amazing event at the Stan Mansion in Chicago. It is called The Power of We, run by my man, my boy, Mr. Lauren Harris. You guys better be there, because I will too, and I hope to see you guys soon. Peace!
The Power of We was a way of inclusion, a way of inviting anyone who needed or wanted a place to belong.
It was just very clear to me that this was something that would really benefit the young folks right here.
And to be able to give them a different perspective, that I know where they come from, I know what they're experiencing because I was there too, and letting them know that there's different actions that they can take that'll lead to a different destiny.
We really needed to hear that. In order to change our community, we needed to hear that.
And they are inspired to invest in making it happen. That's powerful.
ooh wee, ooh wee. It's a great day in the neighborhood. How's yours shaping up? I don't care what it was. I know what it's going to be. Why? Because after this hour, okay, after this hour together, our heads will be just right. Trust me. Why? Because together we fulfill one of the greatest promises available today. You know what it is. We say it every morning. When two or more of us comes together and we're in the same spirit-filled space, that's our mind, our heart, our souls, our purpose. Wonderful things are guaranteed to happen. On purpose, with purpose. That's the bell of purpose. And I ring it all through the show on purpose. Why? Because it's not a gimmick. It's not just a show prop. No, it isn't. I promise you that. It is an opportunity. It's a reminder that just like that bell has a ring to it, so does the truth. And when we share our stories, we bear our scars. And behind those scars are the truths that we have all lived through. Because a scar is immediate proof of what? That's right, healing, right? And today's guest knows a lot about healing. Wow. I'm going to tell you something. When I looked at her bio, which I'll get to here in a couple minutes, man, I was like, man, this sounds like something off a Lifetime. This life this lady has lived, and she's still going strong. So there's more that's not even in the bio, but we're going to get to that today. Her name is Rebecca Mahan. She's here, came through you guys are, well, we'll talk about him after she gets in here. One of her clients is how I found her. But you guys, a couple things. First of all, Power We Symposium, as you know, let me get it up. April 28th, number 3, historical day and a half. We do it every time in Atlanta. You know, we ended up 5 weeks later getting an award from the United Nations in New York City, and we didn't even know we were creating history while we were doing it. MTV was in the audience. A lot of you were there, and this time we need you again. Why do you think it's called the Power of We? I could have turned that W upside down and that way, and made it the Power of Me. That would have been a one-person event, because who would have come to that? I don't think I'd have even showed up, right? So anyway, when is it? There it is on the screen, Chicago, April 28th. Don't miss it. If there's any way you can get out of, I know everybody's suffering from what I refer to as Tin Man syndrome. Like when Dorothy found him, he was like, I can talk, but I can't move. We've been COVID. We're stiff as boards. Now you got a chance to come back out if you can. If not, join his pay-per-view through the E360 television network. You'll be able to watch it all, the full day, for $10. How's that for a deal, right? And here we go. The pay-per-view, all of this just came about yesterday. Where's that song at? Oh, there it is. The pay-per-view. Oh, wait, I don't want to do it like that. I almost left you guys for a second. I can't wait till I'm with a national network or something. So I'm not in charge of all this clicking around. I am not techie. That's all I want to say. I am not. Okay, now I'm going to pull this up. I want you guys to see that. Okay, don't start playing yet. Okay, look. You guys know the Grammy Award-winning Soul Children of Chicago Choir. Those 30 kids are our upfront VIP kids out of the 287 kids that will be there on April 28th. They are Grammy Award-winning for their work they did with Three Doors Down, and they now are a part of a thing called Sing for Ukraine. They're raising, hopefully, and we're going to help them, $1 million for the orphans in Ukraine. If there was a ceasefire today, and everybody went back to life as usual tomorrow, those orphans will still be orphans. We cannot undo that. And many of you know, many of us have been orphans. I, for one, my story, the Goldcast video, 22 mothers. That's an orphan. Okay. So, of course, I'm going to give half of that pay-per-view money to Sing for Ukraine. And before I get my guest in, I wanted to share you guys, they just filmed this. The choir Heavenly USA came from Japan, and together with the Soul Children of Chicago, I'll just show you a little bit. This is what they were doing to get started, and I am just so excited. Get to the Power of We Symposium so that you can experience these wonderful kids. A lot of them have gone on to American Idol, The Voice, all that sort of thing, and you'll meet them all. Matter of fact, Charisma, who's featured in our commercial, you saw her when she said, in order to change our community, we needed to hear that. When she did a pinky swear in 2018 up on the stage before we let everybody go, she said, when you come back, I promise you, I'll be doing something awesome. And boy, is she ever. She's coming back as the current female lead in Chicago's production of the Lion King. So manifestation, claim it, and it's yours, okay? So take a look at what these kids are doing. They make me feel like I'm slacking. I'm not kidding. Take a look.
The pregnant woman who was pulled out of the rubble of a maternity hospital has lost her life along with her baby. Children dying, babies crying all across our land.
What on earth is going on? Please help me understand.
Pray for us before we're gone. And if I die, please carry on. The siege is underway, so please send help today. We sing for you, pray, all together, one forever. We sing for you, pray, raise your voices, never let our needs will be. Brothers, we never wanted more.
We're under attack, but we're fighting back. It saves us to our core.
Bombs are from the sky, there's thousands dying wide. Little girls and boys, generations destroyed. We sing for you, pray, all together, one forever. We sing for you, pray, raise your voices, never let our needs
Okay, you get the idea. I just love these kids, you guys. Man. The youth are the future, right? And I know all of us have come through that space, that walked through that neighborhood of life where you felt that the world had you on mute, that the people closest to you had developed some type of cataract and could not see you any longer. But there was that person or persons that came along and they saw us and they poured into us. And our lives have never been the same. So never forget. And the only way to do that is to pour what was poured into you back into someone else. Can I get an amen? Okay, so there you go. That's it. I want to get Rebecca in here. It's 8:15, time to bring our guest in. And Rebecca L. Who wants to guess what L stands for? Let me see. I'm going to say Rebecca Mahan. No, that's probably not it. Rebecca Lynn. That's what I'm going with. Put your L middle name in the comments. I'm going to give somebody 2 pay-per-view tickets that cannot come to the Power of We. If you can guess what the L in Rebecca's name stands for. Okay, you cannot use Rebecca Lynn you can. No, you can't because I already have it. So anyway, Rebecca is an independent business owner. A TV, she could have said entrepreneur, right? But you hear what she said, independent business owner. We're going to go in there. TV, radio show host, and the producer of Rebecca Sounds. Is that Reveille? I'm going to have her, you know me, 12th grade. So she is a United States, that's a Marine Corps veteran. Scared of her. And thank you for your service, Air Force here, but I won't hold it against you. A retired police officer and the author of V.O.T.E. V.O.T.E. stands for Victims Overcoming Traumatic Events. Wow. And she has been for a long time a running columnist for a community college newspaper. She did that, a volunteer of so many services, along with producing and hosting her own previous award-winning radio show. She's got tons of degrees, a lot of stuff in her background as far as schooling that have to do with theology, religious studies, things like that. I find that very interesting. A lot of us come through that religious door in order to get into the spiritual space. We'll see how she fares. Here she comes. You guys, she's never been here, so you know what we do. Put your hearts into this conversation, and at the same time, hit the little button. Put some hearts on the screen, because here she comes, Rebecca. Down. Welcome, Rebecca Mahan. Oh, you got a heart on the screen?
Heart on the screen.
I don't look right, though. My fingers are too fat. So it's so good to see you. Welcome. Say hello to everybody before we get started. And just let us know where you are in the world. And if you feel okay with it, if you're comfortable with it, give us a little peek into where little Rebecca got her start.
Oh my goodness. I am currently in Texas, and my start came from California.
Okay. So, but when you were, tell us about it. What was it like? Did you live on the perfect Brady Bunch street? Or was it, you know what I'm saying? We like people to see not just where we are, but a little bit about where we've come from. Because
now I don't know of anyone that's ever had kind of that perfect Brady Bunch street, simply because everything on the surface may look great no matter where you're at, but whatever's going on, everybody has their own thing. So I lived both in Northern California and Southern California. Grew up primarily in Southern California.
Okay.
But yeah, so having family in both places allowed me to get an experience in both different types of cultures, two very, very different cultures.
Get it. So at the very first thing out the gate in your bio says an independent business owner. I found that very interesting. I pay close attention to the way people phrase things, because it tells you the command they have of the words that come out of their mouth. So why did you phrase it like that instead of just saying, I'm an entrepreneur like so many of us do?
Well, the company that I have the opportunity to work on behalf, if you will, it's not really work when you're networking, and that's how I feel about most things, and that's Legal Shield.
Okay. Oh, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
One of my friends does that. I think it's Giselle does that. Yeah. They help you with all your you like pay for them, and anytime you need legal stuff, they're there. Is that it?
You got it. So you have a membership, and anytime that you need any type of
articles of incorporation, check this contract for me, all of it.
You got it.
And that's not to be, because I remember this, because Lisette, that's who it is, Lisette Rodriguez, she does it. And it's not to be confused with like Rocket Lawyer or Zoom Legal. It's not that kind of a thing. It's like an insurance plan.
Well, it's not insurance, but it's a membership. No. And so you can pick different.
That's an insurance for when you need something.
Yeah, it's kind of that security factor of knowing that if you need legal, and it can happen at any time, and especially in the economic climate that we're in right now, where you have the Great Resignation with so many people that didn't either want to go back to work, couldn't go back to work, or whatever the circumstances are since COVID. And many people have found other ways to work from home, or just different things. So it's a great opportunity on a lot of levels.
Awesome. And so you guys just put that back in your little, behind your ear, because there's much more coming, but that's something to know about. And I'm going to tell you, for real, I'm familiar with it. Check into it. If you haven't, just consider the possibility. You never know when you're going to need something like that. So let's talk about, you're so diverse. Military background, police officer, an author, and you can't write about something you don't know. Well, you could, but it would be fiction. Victims overcoming traumatic events. Talk about that if you could. any way you want to approach it.
Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of do a little plug here. You'll
Okay.
see it's a very succinct book. It's more or less, the book is a handbook so that law enforcement, first responders, or anybody that's working with a victim of domestic violence or someone who's an aggressor in the domestic violence or intimate partner abuse realm, they can help that person or that person's family be able to move beyond it. And so it is something that the Lord gave me to be able to create. And I was sitting in the police academy and the light bulb went off.
You were in that movie? Oh my God, I love that movie. I watched it 100 times. But you look too young
Tackleberry.
in that movie.
Yeah, so I just
wait a minute. That was a joke.
Yeah, I was pulling out all the different.
You were not in the movie Police Academy for real, were you? Oh, okay.
No.
I was like, man, what a lucky guess. Okay, but the real Police Academy.
Yeah. We had a instructor who was talking about domestic violence and giving us all of the different groundwork on what we needed to do, policy, law, protocol, whatever, any way that you want to, California law specifically, and how to investigate it and work with people. So long and short of it is I had this idea come to me, and prior to that, I had done tons of different research, self-help, different things to personally and grow professionally. And so I just thought, wow, this is something that is really an opportunity for change, and it isn't going to be something that takes a lot. So I kept that in my brain. And later on, I got hired at Sutter County Sheriff's Department, and they said, my sergeant came out and said, okay, you guys all have to do a COPS project, which is community-oriented policing. And I knew at that moment, this was the time to share this. And so I typed it up, I put it together in this presentation, and then I presented it to my sergeant and the rest of the chain of command. And they said, okay, you can try it for a year and we'll see how well it works. And so I think I got a lot of chuckles from people thinking, domestic violence has been around for a long time. There's nobody that's going to be able to really put a dent in this. But the first year when the results came in, 97% of the homes we didn't go back to, and the department maintained records on that for another 7 years, and it was 95% and above. So
wait a minute. You're saying you'd leave your book there?
No.
Okay.
So
So
I was
what was okay, the 90-some%. What was it? What was it, saying, look, what did you leave there that made what did they get that made the difference?
So I created a program specifically on what happens when you go to a call for service at a house that is needing assistance. And so the formula consists of follow-up to that, and also not handing off the report or further follow-up to somebody else. The thing with personal space is people don't like to have to share their things that are behind closed doors with more than one person.
Right.
That already in itself is a very difficult thing to do. So once I know that I've shared it, say with you, and then you're going to go talk with somebody else about it, now I'm really humiliated. Everything's coming out. I'm going to feel like I'm being judged because I either stayed or I shouldn't have stayed or whatever. And this is my world. But then when I have somebody I don't know that shows up at my door saying, hey, we heard this happen, we need to go over this. Now I've got to retell this
over and over. And you hear about rape victims who say that that's the worst part, almost worse than the rape sometimes, because they keep being dipped back into that horrible vat of trauma.
Yes, 100%. And so the whole idea about the V.O.T.E program is one person that has met with the family, whether it's the victim or the aggressor, and even those others that are in the home, stays with that case specifically for about 4 weeks. And
instead of passing it off to her, him, her.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And so I would just, as an example, if I went out to your home, then I'm going to pop back in a week later. So just to see how you're doing, I want you to know I'm there for you. I want the children in the home to know that they are going to be protected in the event something happens and that they do have somebody that they can talk to.
That's wonderful. I love
So,
that. I love
yeah.
that. So that's what the book is all about. So now you're getting the book into the hands of anybody, hopefully before an officer has to do what you've taught some of them to do. So how does it help, Rebecca, people that get it? Okay, and let me say this. Let's say, for instance, let's be hypothetical. Say someone is watching today and they go, okay, I want to get her book, but I don't know where I would hide it. I don't want him or her to know, because it's not just women who are victims of
Not at all.
people think that, but there's a lot of men and most of them won't report it.
You got it.
So
That's exactly. Yes. And there is one area in our society that is completely left out and has humongous numbers as far as really detrimental cases. And that is in the LGBT community. This is really overlooked,
really,
and people are not taking the time to understand that the dynamics that are there are the same as far as domestic violence goes. But because of the way the culture is, it's just not addressed.
and I'm LGBT and did not even know that.
Yes, it's huge.
Really?
Yes.
We're not talking gay bashing.
No, but that could actually be part of it, because if there is family members that get involved in that and they don't agree with the lifestyle, and then you have different things that go on, you have mental, verbal, or even physical abuse that can all fall under that. And domestic violence, it was changed not too long ago to intimate partner abuse, but the thing is, some states are not saying that it's isolated to two people that are living together, married together. Domestic means anybody that's living or has lived in the same household and you have a relationship, mom, dad, brother, sister.
So domestic violence doesn't mean you're in a romantic relationship with the person. Right. Just means you're a domicile. You're in the same domicile.
Yes.
Know that either. Intimate.
And that's important. Abuse. That's really important, because sometimes people will have abuse situations happening and they don't feel like they can report it because it's a family member, a parent, or a child, or something like that. But this really is in the scope is huge to think about, because there's so many things that are overlooked simply because we think it's between two people that are in a relationship.
Right. Oh, I don't want to get in the middle of that sort of thing. So, tell us a little bit about some of the recommendations, if you will, that are inside the book, as far as how to be proactive, or, how to get ahead of something and stop it before it gets to a point of no return, or something that cannot be, you don't get do-overs for certain things in life. So what do you speak? How do you speak to that, Rebecca?
This is a really important question that you've asked, because there's an entire chapter that's dedicated just for this. So anybody who isn't currently working with someone, whether it's a first responder utilizing this program, or anybody else that's using this to help somebody, they can read this chapter specifically and start learning the tools and the techniques that are available to change the direction that they're going in an unhealthy relationship. So the whole idea is for us individually to recognize where we are not healthy and become healthy, and then be on autopilot, so that we don't find ourselves in a situation where we can be mentally, emotionally, or physically harmed later on. So, for example, it would include things like erecting boundaries, understanding how to recognize the self-talk that we have, and that internal talk, we say that's not healthy. We're changing our phraseology from positive or negative, or bad or good. We're learning to take words that our brain uses to say, oh, I think this is the route that I need to go. So if I'm saying that's unhealthy, the bells and whistles are going off saying, if my body, my mind, and my soul need to be healthy, and what I'm hearing is unhealthy, then I can't go there.
That is so, you're hitting it. There's the bell, you guys. I want to share something real quick because I didn't know if I was going to bring it up or not. I practiced it on the treadmill at the gym this morning. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to go a little deeper into the onion today. And then I thought after I got in here, I had all that other stuff. I said, well, I don't want to take away from Rebecca's time, but here you tied it in. How interesting. And what I mean is when you say that I wrote it down, when you said where we recognize where we are unhealthy, that's a hard thing for a lot of us. Because look, I'm going to show you this morning, and I have to ease around that corner, like I put the mirror around the corner first to see what's there. You see what I'm saying? And I fight myself in order to help myself, if that makes sense. And what I'm getting at is, look at this post that I put this morning. I said, a moment of transparency. I learned a hard but necessary lesson today, that sometimes stress can lead us directly to an internal infection of spirit we previously never knew existed. Follow the 4 agreements. And what I meant by that was, I got blindsided by myself last evening where, the things that you pour into people or you think so well, you think, and then just like that, here's what it is. Will Smith. Everybody's talking about how Will Smith lost it all those decades, and then right before his greatest moment, or one of them, he does something like that. And I was right there. I've lost a lot of respect for Will. He should have known. I was doing it. And then one of my dearest friends last night had responded to something I put in the text because I've been he was out of town. I didn't remember. And he just said something that was kind of cryptic, but it was a joke. We later found out, but I thought I didn't follow the 4 agreements. I took it personally. I made assumptions and I nearly lost a dear, dear friend. But even beyond that, it was when I got up this morning, the first thing the slippers that I stepped inside of, the spiritual slippers, if you will, allowed me to see everything about where there was an infection in me, a hurt, a pain, something that I thought, it's like I was telling my husband, it's like if you think you've glued all the pieces of the broken you back together, and then you step on something, you go, what is this? And you pick it up, and it's a little bitty sliver that you missed, and then you start looking for, where does this go in there? You see what I'm saying? You can't tell from the outside that it's where it is, because it might have been from the inside of the vase where that little piece was missing, or in between. So talk about what you recommend for people. I'm really interested in this one, for real, for clear personal selfish reasons. What is it you say in there to help people turn back inward to find that thing?
First, we have to recognize that we all have different areas where we can develop things that are much more healthy for the direction that we want to go. And sometimes, I'll give you an example. We don't take the time to think about that until New Year's Eve or right before that. And we say, I have all these resolutions that I want to make. And so I better do this so that by summertime, I can look this way or feel this way. And so they might try and say, I'm going to stop this particular vice, or I'm going to start doing this. But the thing is, wherever we're at, once we've recognized it and we've started our journey in that direction, there's really no failure if we decide to start again, if we sort of get off course. So I want to just say that from the very beginning. As long as you go back, there's no failure, because you're going to continue at some point to gain a little bit more skills, get a little bit more confident about the work that's required. The other thing is, when you start working on you, you're going to be tired. Just like you were at the gym this morning on the treadmill, when you're done, you're like but yet you get energy from it.
Yeah.
It's energizing and it's healthy. But going internal in our brain and listening to how we talk to ourselves, understanding why we make certain decisions, that's hard. And it's going to be a little bit of a journey, but once we do it, you get on autopilot, and you're subconsciously being able to recognize those things and taking hold of them and shooting them out the door. So that's where it needs to be. Know that the journey from the very beginning is going to be difficult. Begin to change the verbal from healthy to from unhealthy to healthy, and recognizing that. And then the other thing is understanding how to peel down the layers of emotion and where they fall. And everything comes down to one of two emotions. Maybe those in the chat can say which ones they think they are.
There you go.
That would be really great if you
repeat that so they can get on that opportunity. Say again what you'd like them to drop.
Okay, so remember I said healthy or unhealthy. Now, if
Yeah.
you were going to peel down every emotion and you have to name what the emotion is, it's going to come down to either a healthy or unhealthy emotion. And you've got to figure out which two out of all of them does it come down to.
Mine today, I'm writing it as I speak. And I almost lost it while you're talking. I'm just keep it real. With me, I wrote down disappointment because, I'm almost 60 years old. And there's a different kind of responsibility when you speak to yourself as some kind of authority on something, and you tell people, and people count on you, and then you see how quickly, just like that. My biggest thing is I don't know how to yet just go like this to myself and right the ship. It seems like I still always go back and I want to just like tie myself across the hood of something and just, like they would do with slavers. I don't know what that is. And sometimes it can be a bit much.
I'm glad you're bringing that up. I am, because I have a tool that everybody can do right this second that will change their life. Okay, so I'll go back to what the two emotions are in just a second. But if you happen to have a little Post-it note, this is the great way to do it, or a small piece of paper, because that is something you got to keep with you now, because now okay? Once this happens, now
Right. No more ignorance.
And this is the first step in making the changes. Okay?
Sure.
So you take your Post-it note, and in all caps, okay, let me get my pen to work because I got to show you that as we're doing this. I like the Sharpie idea. I just don't have a Sharpie handy. But in all capital letters, you need to write the word healthy. So it's going to look something like this.
Okay. Okay, I got mine.
Next step, draw a line under it.
Okay.
This is going to be probably one of the best tools that people can use from here forward.
Awesome.
Okay, and then the next word in all block caps, unhealthy. So it should look like this.
Okay.
So the next question at that point is, what do we do with this? What am I going to do with this? And so this is where life changes, because as you start listening to things inside your head, you look in the mirror saying, oh, I got a new wrinkle. I'm not liking that. Where does that fit? Where does that fit? It's not healthy to be thinking that. I don't like that. You're telling yourself then what? Essentially, your brain is hearing, I don't like me. Or I'm not good enough, or whatever that comes back next. And that falls here. And you can't have that in your world. So that means you got to change that thought. Rephrase it. Do something that creates a healthy talk there. So going back to the two emotions, and this is how the tie-in is, we either have love.
Yes.
Or we have fear.
Fear. The two original thoughts.
You got it. So disappointment. Yeah, you peel that down. Disappointment, it's fear. Why? And there can be a couple of different reasons. Now, once we've mastered this internally, the next step is for us to be able to listen when someone is talking to us. If they sound curt, rude, They are actually mean in the language that they're using to us. We already know where it fits here. But instead of us reacting in this, we have to realize that they're actually speaking in terms of what is internally they're afraid of internally, and they may not even recognize that. And we should be listening, saying what they're saying isn't directed at me. It is based on a fear. And if I identify what the fear is when that person is talking and I can offer up a solution, the situation goes away. But this takes time. So it's not something that we will be able to do. I mean, we can start doing. We have to practice this all the time. But the biggest part is practicing it within ourselves so that once we are identifying those and we are controlling our own self in a healthy way, when someone talks to us or treats us in a way that isn't healthy, we have a different way of responding now, which is in healthy format. And then we can choose there what we want to do with that situation or with that other person. Super exciting to be able to do that. So going back to the question about, is there something in the book to address that? Yes, absolutely. There's an entire chapter that goes into this, and just know that it's going to take a little bit of time.
Thank you. I knew you were a pro. I was like, I clicked her in by herself. I said, she'll carry it. The internet went out here. It's still blinking red on my little thing over there, but we're here. Thank you for carrying it. Last word I heard was Kurt. I wrote it down.
Yeah. When somebody speaks curt, they're rude. They actually say things that are demeaning, emasculating. Just anywhere that it falls unhealthy, that's when we have to say that person is afraid of something. Now, if you said to them, hey, what you're scared of, they're not going to admit to this because it may not be something that they recognize.
Right.
But a perfect example to that would be you have a teenager that goes out and their curfew is midnight and they don't get home until 12:30. They come in, parent is just yelling at them. Where were you? Oh, you were supposed to be home at 12 o'clock. And if we think about this, okay, and we know that that falls into unhealthy just because of the way it's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And we say, what's the fear? How we identify is that is to pick 3 possibilities of why that person's saying those things. And just in this analogy, what would you think mom or dad would be saying why would they be yelling at the kid for being late?
Because they were worried.
Yeah, they were afraid
something had happened.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's
but the kid hears.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah, the kid hears, you don't love me, or I'm not good enough.
Right.
Yes. And essentially that's not it. There was an underlying fear. And if we looked at all things like that in our self-talk, the way people talk to us, that is when we start to recognize how to make those changes, because we find solutions. If I say, I know you were scared. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you. This is what happened. I won't do this again. Or we create new boundaries or whatever it is. That changes things. So the other way to do this, if you wanted to start practicing these things, this is what's really cool.
Okay.
Is let's say you're at a grocery store or somewhere you're making a purchase and the cashier may be doing things a little bit slow, and the person in front of you turns to you and starts making all these derogatory remarks about the cashier. Can you believe this person? What's with them? And they just start going off. What would be one of the things that person could be afraid of because they haven't checked out yet?
That they might be triggered. I know if it, boy, this is hard. Because I'm picturing myself as that person. And if I were to turn and actually have, say that to somebody, it's because either I'm late, I feel like they're wasting my time.
Yes.
It's, oh, great. This day just went from bad to whatever it is, I'm going to use it to feed what I walked in the line with.
You got it.
It's nothing
So
to do with that person. I'm looking
it
for
doesn't. 100%. But so many people around the person who's making those statements are affected by that because they don't know is that person going to go actually going to kind of do something really bad to everybody in here because of this. But
right.
ultimately identifying the fear is, oh, maybe they have a sick kid in the car and they're buying cough medicine. They need to get out there, something along those lines. But
Yes.
there's a reason why people do that. And there's a reason why people act out in an unhealthy way. And if we can understand, even if we don't act upon it by saying something, especially somebody that we don't know, then it helps us not have to go to an unhealthy place. And
And,
so that's what this is all about.
and this is so important. I'm going to tell you why. We sometimes forget, you can move along. We get so duped into thinking smooth sailing. That's all I want. I don't want, look at me. And then reality sets in, which is the heartbeat of purpose, which goes just like this. Because I used to think I wanted that straight line, which is that flat line, which means in medical terms, there is no proof of life.
True.
In this healthy, unhealthy. But everything it's amazing because everything you were saying, I saw exactly what I did last night. And here's another piece to it. I learned because when you were talking about this, about how the person said the stuff that turned in the line, it made me go back to because we were texting last night, me and my friend Tim. And he was just here a couple weeks ago, brought me 6 dozens of farm fresh eggs. We're like brothers. And last night, because I thought he was ghosting me, it was out of town. It was a secret knock out in San Diego. And I forgot that. And I was like, Tim, I got a question. I got to run this page, because he helps me with my event. And then he came in and he said, ask Kay. He says everything. I said, well, what's wrong? He goes, everything, ask Kay. And it was a joke. Nothing was wrong. But it was like she had just done the same thing. What's up? Are you okay? So, but where did I go? I went to the place where I thought, I don't know what I thought, but I'll tell you what I learned. When I went back this morning and I looked at my lengthy text that I wasn't typing, of course, I was speaking it. My screen this morning was covered with so much dry spit because we've all, when you're like, your screen, and then I looked at it. I was like, look at all these typos. This doesn't even let you understand what I really was saying because every other word is spelled wrong or pluralized or whatever. And I looked at it and I said, who was this person talking to my friend? And I'm going to tell you what it did to me, especially when I'm looking at this. I think a lot of us are always afraid that after, that I pictured that little woman in the movie with Carol Ann. Carol Ann, coming to the light. Poltergeist. When that little old lady, you remember her at the top of the stairs and she went,
my
house is clean, right? When something like this happens to me, I feel like, oh no, is my house haunted again? Why do we do that? Why do we see it bigger than it is? Why do we feel like, oh no, now, because right now, you know where I'm at, Rebecca? Now I'm afraid of when I've texted, it was all me, my bad. I didn't see it. I didn't get it, but that was easy because I was texting. Now I'm afraid of when I have to speak with Tim face to face. Can I back up those words, typed words, with true pouring out of?
So that's when you go back to trying to identify what it was that was the fear. And then you go, you know what? Okay, here's this. And you respond in love. It's up to the other person to know that you are going to a healthy spot now and you're accountable. And this is what's really great about being able to do this is when we're accountable and somebody knows that we're recognizing the different things that have made that other person feel unhealthy. And so that's really the crux. And when people are your friends, true friends, they are very much forgiving. Now, some true friends that are in a healthy spot and you aren't, and you are not going there, they will erect boundaries and they may have to be apart from you for a while.
Oh,
And know that when you recognize that, that will be one of the best things they could have ever done for you, because sometimes you got to hit the worst part of this part here to get here.
to get to the other.
You do. And if you want to write on this paper, love underneath healthy and fear, and everywhere you go, keep this with you until you go on autopilot. And remember that this is your key to life change right here. These two things. That's it.
It's so
That's
plain and right to the point. And you know, the
Mhm.
thing about it is, you're absolutely right. Man, love, fear, healthy, unhealthy. John says, and I respect John. Man, what a guy. John, thank you for this. Yes, the window to our souls are the words we speak. And he also said, and how we deliver them. And that's, that's what I was saying in the car on the way home I was actually crying at the stoplight. I was talking to God, and I was like, I was all that stuff about Will Smith's slap, and I was like, my tongue did more than slap. My tongue could have actually severed something, just sliced it off at the head,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't feel good. But tell us a little bit more. We got 7 more minutes. Tell us a little bit more about how we get beyond. Once you see it, now, okay, we're identifying it. So what's the next step to getting to why it came? Because it's never about just one thing. It wasn't just for me and Tim to argue. It was for me to see something that I was missing. Like if I was cleaning house, I forgot to get underneath the bed. I forgot to sweep underneath there. I left a dirty dish out on the front porch or something. And so there's a reason we are led back to those intersections. How do we get what we need out of that experience so we don't have to come back to it, or at least not so frequently? Talk about that if you could.
Okay, so the thing to do in this particular situation is self-reflection. You have to ask yourself what the fear is that created that. And you might find one or two of them. You go, okay, I've already kind of dealt with that. But if it's still there, there's something still stirring, there's something more. And I'm not going to tell anybody, go back to your childhood and let's reanalyze all these things that made you where you're at. Okay, I'm not going backwards. I'm moving forward. Let's figure out right here today what I need to do to start making a difference in my life. The other stuff is going to come, because when you get in a healthy mindset, you're going to recognize the things that happened before and you'll be able to understand them. So it's really spending, if this is the first time that something's coming up and you're thinking it in the terms that I've shared with you, spend the next couple of weeks. But I'm going to promise you, by doing this is 100%, I'm going to make this promise to you.
Okay.
And if you do this and you're thinking about it for 2 weeks straight, even the first week alone, you are going to be mentally and maybe even physically exhausted.
Okay.
Because you are now having to understand internal dialogue. And the way to start thinking about things is do it in the terms of threes. So when you're identifying a fear based on something that you've heard yourself say that's not healthy, is it because of this? Is it because of this or this? And if it's none of those, then you move to the next set of 3. But if it is one of them, you can say, this is the solution I want for that.
Right.
So I work with people all the time, one-on-one, and even in groups, if anybody wanted to do this, and I will do it once a week for 4 weeks and give a homework assignment. This week, this is what you got to work on. Next week, this is what you got to work on. And if you're dedicated to it for about 30 days or so.
Yeah, that's the magic number.
That's the thing. It is.
That's when it becomes a habit.
Then when you find yourself on autopilot a couple years down the road, and you're in a completely different mental space, life changes. And when stuff comes up and these light bulbs go off about different situations with yourself and with other people, you go, oh, wow, that's stuck. And I'm in the right space. And then a situation will come up and you find yourself reacting the way you did a while ago, because we're all creatures of habit, it's going to happen. You just pick up, go, where's my little Post-it note? Let's start over. And this
Yeah.
time, instead of it taking 30 days, it's going to maybe take, half of a day or something like that, because now we're just saying, I gotta be cognizant of, again, to stay in this really cool frame of mind.
So what do you do, Rebecca, when it because this is important, because this is where I was yesterday, getting to the point where I forgot that the visor is right here. This is my vehicle. Just like in the car, there's a visor here where every now and then I have to pull that visor down and slide the thing, or just look at myself in that mirror. Because, and here you are, a lot of us help other people do other things, get through things that we have gotten through, and think somehow that we're still not growing. You see what I'm saying? So for you personally, with all the stuff you have in the book and stuff, do you ever find that, ooh, I just did what I told them in chapter 3 not to do? And how do you deal with yourself? How do you forgive yourself? That's the problem I have. I don't know sometimes how to forgive myself. And then when I think I have, I second guess. I go, well, did I really? Did I really forgive myself? Because again, I still see me strapped to the tree, I'm the overseer. Everybody watching is me in a dress, in a farmer's outfit, a little kid. They all have my face on, including the person that's doing the whipping.
I get this. I get it. And the really cool thing is, and I would love to say that I have perfected it and I'm not human. And once I figured it out, I became a robot. But it's not true, because there's so many different circumstances in life that can lead a person into not wanting to take care of themselves mentally, physically, whatever. I mean, different situations come up. It could be medical stuff. It could be just other environmental things. It could have been the situation that people experienced during COVID, because there were so many limitations and people just got out. You've heard of the COVID-20. People got out of being healthy.
Yes.
Every can experience, like you said, it's the pulse. You have to have these things. And the good thing about that is when things have come back, I knew what to do. When something came out and I went like, Rebecca, gosh, how could you, like, what a hypocrite you are. No, I mean, I'm human. So get back on the train. I've told everybody else, there is no failure as long as you start doing it again. So that's what I have to do. That's exactly what I have to do too. And that's just kind of it. And what I find myself doing also, when different situations arise, let's say someone decides they want to provide some constructive criticism for me, that's healthy. But my first response to that might not be healthy. It might be in the unhealthy zone, and I've got to figure it out. So how I do that is I say, all right, did what the person say become valid to me? Is this, I mean, I've got to start thinking about this. Okay, yeah, what they said is true. Now, how do I want to respond to that? Because I need to go make this relationship healthy, because either I didn't talk about it, or maybe I didn't respond correctly in a way that was healthy.
Right.
How do I want to address that? So I got to change me, though, because what they said is true. And
that's the only thing we can.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we can.
And if it's not, then I have to say, how am I going to have this relationship with this person? How do I want to solve this? Because they obviously had a fear-based response to me, and what they're saying isn't accurate. So either way, this is unhealthy. What solution can I come up with that can make this better for both of us?
Perfect.
And that's really the crux of it, of all of these things. There's more, because this takes a little bit of time.
It does take time.
But that's it. Yeah.
So Rebecca, this hour flew by. On the screen is your LinkedIn, Rebecca L. Mahan. Is it? How say the last name?
Yeah, Mahan.
Okay, Mahan. And underneath, a website for ladiesofjustice.com, where you can find all things because I have a feeling there's a couple people out here, if not more, that really want to talk to you, sidebar, about a lot of the things that we've just scratched the surface on here today. But that's why we're here, illuminating conversations, shedding light on opportunities of change. So also tell them real quick where they can find your podcast and when.
Okay, so the TV show podcast, Rebecca Sounds Reveille, is on like 5 different or more video platforms. So YouTube would be probably the best place to go because you'll be able to see all the prior episodes. And then you can pick it up on any podcast platform, iHeartMedia, Pandora. It's on over 110 of them. It's pretty cool to see the numbers coming up because every episode is designed to give tools and resources to help people become healthy.
I love it. I'm telling you what, you were right. Exactly what the doctor ordered for me today. And I thank you, Rebecca. I really do. You healed at least the first slab of this sidewalk of the block I'm walking on today so that I can get to the one after it. Because I didn't know how I was going to approach it. But now I do. So, see, you guys, I told you we're not just going through the motions. We're not just BSing. We are BLESSING, blessing. And I got one today, and I'm sure you did too. If not, keep living. You'll find it. I guarantee you. Rebecca, thank you so much. I'm going to take the liberty, you guys, to go back. I have all of her information, and I'm going to drop a few of the most important links, like number 1, how to find the podcast TV show, and a few others. She has a lot of stuff out there, and I want you to find it. Rebecca, thank you so much. We got to have you back. You're great.
Thank you.
You really are. The camera and sound was trying to mess with us today, and then the internet kicked me out. But you know what? Nothing can block your blessing. And you cannot block someone else's. So, you know what? Get out there and be the best version of yourself today. Rebecca, thank you again. Thank all of you. I got to head over in 15 minutes. I'm on the Whole Living Show. And I just thank you all for pouring into me, allowing Rebecca and I to pour into you. And listen, God willing, I'll meet you tomorrow morning again at 8 a.m. right out front on the front porch. And thank you. Please be there. Please. You see how much I count on you. We need each other. It's the power of we. Never the power of me. Have a great day. Be the blessing you would love to receive yourself, and watch what happens. I'm Lauren Michaels Harris, and on behalf of Rebecca here and everyone else who loves you, and you can't do a damn thing about it, we'll see you tomorrow. Have the best day ever. Okay, Rebecca, I just love you. I'm serious. You, girl, you touched me today. You really.
Thank you. I got to tell you, did you see, how much your speech, your Goalcast did? That is so empowering. Empowering. I had to put it out because what you had to say really aligns with the V.O.T.E program.
I love it. And you know what? I'm going to put you on the spot here. I don't know how many copies you have laying around, but if you had even one that you could donate to the Power We Symposium, I'll make sure whoever gets it will be the person it's for. But I just tell you that thing, if I don't know, you better send 2, because if you send 1, I'm keeping it. I'm just
send me the address.
I will definitely. Thank you so much, you guys. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow with more blessings, more illumination, so we can help each other. Remember, we're not above or below each other. We're not in competition with each other. We're only in competition with one thing: time. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Show me your soul.